Things you didn't know about Saturday Night Live. And for this video, we're going to be focusing mostly on the SNL movies that were made and some that were not, including some very early on things, because we do have that new movie that's coming out that... Have you heard the premise of it?
Yeah, it's following the first night of the live show, like leading up to it.
Yeah, it's truly like the hour and a half leading up to the very first episode of Saturday Night Live.
Dafoe is in it.
Well, it debuted October 11th, 1975. And the show can actually thank Johnny Carson because he wanted more vacation. Back in 1974, Carson asked NBC to stop airing reruns of The Tonight Show on weekends because he wanted to bank those for the weekdays so that he could take more vacation. And then it was at that point that Lorne Michaels was asked by NBC to develop a show. Do you know who the original cast member was? Who the first one hired was?
Was it Chevy Chase?
It was not. Although he did do one of the first. The first one was actually Gilda Radner.
Oh, okay.
And the original title for Saturday Night Live was NBC's Saturday Night, because there was already a show over on ABC called Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell.
Clearly, it's like Billy Crystal.
Clearly, it's not a skit comedy show.
No, wasn't it like Sports Roundup or something?
I believe so, like the Weekend Sports. Now you just mentioned Chevy Chase being the first cast member. He's not technically, but he was the first one to ever say live from New York. It's Saturday night.
It's Saturday night. Look at that headphone. Holy crap.
Now, you know that they were going to make a Hans and Franz movie, right?
No, but it doesn't surprise me. Like, in the 90s, they were doing every character they could possibly do at that time.
And this is really what the meat and potatoes of this video is going to be, because Last Action Hero ended that movie. So it was being developed by Kevin Nealon, Dana Carvey, Robert Smigel, and Conan O'Brien. They were writing it. And it was called Hans and Franz, The Girly Man Dilemma, and it was a musical. Now, I've seen varying versions of this because Conan O'Brien has talked about this on his podcast, but Kevin Nealon had a slightly different version of the story. But according to Conan O'Brien, Arnold may not have ever actually read the story and eventually saw it for the first time on Conan's podcast. However, according to Kevin Nealon, the movie was Arnold's idea, and he was going to produce it, but that all changed when Last Action Hero came out and it bombed. And after that was when Schwarzenegger basically said he's not going to be playing himself in a movie ever again.
I tell you, though, that movie right there, Last Action Hero, was before its time. That is a great movie.
Frank is a big advocate. See, that's one thing that's a triple feature draft that we should do.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Dude, they make fun of action movies. Like, he makes fun of himself and his whole genre. That's why nobody got it, because they didn't understand what the hell it was. It's just him making fun of himself.
It was parody.
Yeah.
Well, Smigel, who, in case you didn't know, was also the man behind Triumph the Unsold Comic Dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had actually written a movie called The Movie.
The Movie.
You know what that was about?
I'm guessing a movie. The Bears.
It was about the Bears. It was all this whole skit. And obviously this never came to fruition, but in 2010, George Wendt, Mike Ditka, Robert Smigel, Bob Odenkirk, who was one of the writers, Richard Roper, and Joe Mantegna staged a live reading of the script at Chicago's Just for Laughs Festival.
God, Farley was so great. Coughed up. Coughed up, what is it, the lung or whatever it was he coughed up?
Now, what is the... No, it was a pork chop. It was lodged in his throat.
Okay,
yeah, he's all...
like beating himself on the chin. Like, George was like, you got it. You got it.
Mustache keeps coming off.
Yeah, he's putting it back on.
So, what do you think is of the movies that were actually made based on Saturday Night Live? Do you know what the least successful one is?
It's Pat.
You're right. It's Pat.
Because nobody knew what, like I said, that was one of those movies that it had no real trailers for it. Nobody really knew what the hell it was about, but it's a funny ass movie.
It grossed a little over $60,000 in 1994. Now, on the other hand, back in 1992, Wayne's World made $183 million.
That one, and what was the one with, the guy who's like a therapist? And
Stuart Smalley?
Stuart Small, yeah,
Stuart saves
like
his
those
family.
two movies. Those two movies like bombed, but like were some of the funniest. Like if you can ever find them, those two are the funniest things in the world. They make no sense, but they're great.
And finally, there was a Saturday Night Live movie being developed back in the 90s. Not this one. This is the new one that's actually coming out here October 11th, 2024. That's about the build up to the first ever episode.
Oh, Jason Reitman's a part of that.
But there was.
He directed it.
Conan O'Brien, Robert Smigel, Al Franken, and Greg Daniels were among the writers. Okay. And it was truly just going to be a movie version of a Saturday Night Live episode. Okay. And then they realized there's really no benefit to this. Like, we're not giving the audience anything more than they really are. So then it went kaput.